All right, everyone, now we've got to talk about the only news anyone cares about, which is Brett Kavanaugh. A lot to talk about with regards to yesterday's testimony. I believe that they're going to be holding the confirmation vote today, but knowing Grassley, who knows? Could be 10 years from now that they hold the confirmation. Brett Kavanaugh's skeleton will now give us the 13th round of testimony this month. Mr. Kavanaugh, are maggots crawling around in the inside of your coffin yet? That's basically what's happening. The GOP is spineless. They are cowards. Most of them refuse to defend Kavanaugh because they're afraid of being called woman haters. You don't believe victims. Now, if they were smart, which they're not, if they weren't cowards, unfortunately they are, they'd come out and say, hey, we haven't established that there was a victim. No, I'm not going to believe him at all. Let's look at evidence. You're talking about wanting an FBI investigation, which is purely political. Look, the reason they want an FBI investigation, the American Bar Association of all groups, being ignorant is calling for it too. The reason is to slow down the process to keep Kavanaugh from getting confirmed. To force Trump to nominate someone else, slow down his own process, you have to go through it all again or something like that. That's the point, because if it were, the FBI needs evidence in order to actually determine guilt. You need probable cause to even launch such an investigation. The FBI can't just say, hey, we don't like you, we're going to investigate you for something on an allegation. It doesn't matter. The FBI can't do that. Simply having someone say, yeah, he sexually assaulted me, okay. That's he said, she said. He's saying it didn't happen. In fact, there was no party that he can recollect even being at the time. And she can't even remember basic details. Christine Ford can't. Where's the evidence of this? I would think that would be counter evidence, actually, to the entire argument. The whole point of this is not to actually, prosecute Kavanaugh. The point is to slow down or stop his confirmation to make Trump look bad before the midterms. This is supposed to be the Democrats' October surprise. This is what they want it to be, which is why the Republicans, if they're not completely suicidal, will vote to confirm, leave it at that, let the fallout be what it is. The Democrats are going to ramble about women's rights and hashtag Me Too regardless. They have been all along. It's not magically going to go away or even get any less because you stop Kavanaugh and say, okay, yeah, we're calling for the FBI to investigate now too. You think you're going to win any brownie points? No, you're going to piss off the core fans that build the Republican base by looking spineless, while doing nothing to take care of any of the problems that you have with the center left, which has joined the far left in these calls against Kavanaugh based on the fact that Avenatti got involved with his creepy porn lawyer client. That's basically what's happening right now. The only Republican apparently with balls, and this is very funny since the dude wears full makeup every day, is Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is the only Republican who very vocally not only supported Kavanaugh and attacked the press, which he should have. The rest of the Republicans should back him on this. Not only did that, but actually defended Kavanaugh and was willing to be on camera doing it. Not just behind closed doors, oh, hey, Brett, I think it's regrettable what's happening. All the other Republicans, they're like, oh, I think this is a sham. It's ridiculous. It's a blot on a republic. Like Ted Cruz coming out doing his sourpuss face bullshit. Oh, yeah, I feel sorry for you, your poor family. Let Brett Kavanaugh tug on the heartstrings. Your job is to defend him. Your job is someone who is, supposedly loyal to some partisan bullshit, as well as in good faith with Trump generally, trusts his judgment, I guess, and as someone who has already vocally proclaimed, yeah, I like Brett Kavanaugh, I'll vote for him. If you're going to vote for him, you're not going to get a chance if there's no confirmation vote. You need to defend him, Ted. But Ted doesn't really do that. He just gives him a few softball questions, says, okay, that's all. That's all that happened. Meanwhile, Kavanaugh, he gets teary-eyed, he gets emotional. And the funniest thing of the day was really the left attacking him for that. So the accusers can sit there and weep and hold their face and tear up and be very emotional. But Brett Kavanaugh can't. Somehow it's different for him. He's been defamed for months. He has to explain to his kids what running a train means, but he's not supposed to get emotional. He's just supposed to take it because he's, going to be in SCOTUS maybe. No, I think that having a little bit of emotion and righteous anger from him is actually a breath of fresh air. It's a little bit different now, isn't it, from the average politician who they can't emotion their way out of a fucking plastic bag. Therein lies the problem. The left is applying a double standard here, and I've seen it before. I literally saw this after the Holt hit piece, the first one there about alt-right YouTuber, the fucking whatever. Remember when he wrote that hit piece, and a bunch of people, naturally, we responded, and our audiences then responded as well by going to his article, and they were lambasting it there, and they were going to his Twitter and stuff like that, and having a chuckle, making memes about, basically how his paper was dumb, which it was. How did he respond then? Oh my God, you're not supposed to get so emotional. Your response is disproportionate. Oh my God, look, you're dog whistling to your audiences to harass and troll and stuff. And it's like, dude, you're defaming someone continuously, especially defaming people with large audiences. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? If you drag this man up on stage, which the Democrats have, and defame him, if the charges are false, and I believe that they are because he's replied directly. He didn't use any weasel words any time during his testimony. That's the mark of someone who is innocent, not the mark of someone who's guilty. Meanwhile, his accusers, a little bit less so. I think there was a little bit of wiggling around some of the questions there from Miss Christine Ford. And meanwhile, you haven't even established that there's a victim. So the hashtag believe the victims thing doesn't make any sense. Like Bernie Sanders, I believe the survivors of sexual violence. Okay, prove that there was sexual violence and that Brett Kavanaugh was responsible. And then the American Bar Association in these groups, they're calling for an FBI investigation. They can't. There's no probable cause. No sane person would grant a warrant for this investigation to go forward. There's no evidence. You've got basically testimony that conflicts. You've got one person who appears to be totally forthcoming, and the accuser can't even remember basic rudimentary facts about something that you would think the average person would remember. Then you've got Avenatti involved. Doesn't bode well for the accusers at this point. Kavanaugh's not going to go to jail or lose his job over this, but you are trying to destroy his reputation. They're trying to Anita Hill him, essentially. Only worse. Here's the thing. When the Republicans come out and say, well, blood on a republic, really regrettable. Yeah, so then why aren't you doing more? You're looking spineless again. How do we know Chuck Grassley's not going to say, oh, confirmation hearing, next week too. We want more testimony. The FBI is going to come in. They're going to do an investigation. We'll meet next year. That's basically what the Republicans are doing. They're like throwing their chance to get a second SCOTUS appointee. For no reason. You've got the votes. Fucking just go ahead and deal with it. Fucking hold the vote. No, don't delay it at all. And screw the American Bar Association. Who gives a fuck what they think? Obviously, a group of lawyers appear not to understand how the FBI functions. Imagine that. It's political hackery. That's what it's devolved into at this point. I think Kavanaugh should be confirmed. I do believe him. Yeah, I believe the only person who is objectively being victimized, which is Brett Kavanaugh, by being continuously defamed and attacked. I think he's the victim. No, I don't think his accusers were victimized by him. You're asking me to believe that Brett Kavanaugh, for decades, nobody said a word to anybody about the fact that he was running a rape gang in college, drugging people's drinks and having trains run on them. You're expecting me to believe that happened and nobody said a word about it. You're expecting me to believe that and that he got into the high rungs of the judiciary without notice and nobody cared. All these people, every single one of his accusers has contradicted themselves or one another or can't remember basic events. And so that makes me question it. Meanwhile, Kavanaugh's like, yeah, this is what I was doing 10 years ago. Yeah, I'll take your next 1,000 fucking questions. I've already given you my testimony. I've already filled the questionnaires. Now you're dragging me in front of you again. You don't need to do this. And then he gets angry at the Democrats, as any person would, if they're being tarred and feathered on a public witch trial, like a fucking public square burning on Sunday, circa maybe 1200 AD, or something like that. And then they attack him for being emotional. Well, he doesn't have the temperament to be on SCOTUS. I think I would like someone with emotion there. Right now, Ginsburg's basically animatronic. The rest of them are primarily old and boring, or they're centrist sellouts. Yeah, I do want someone who's capable of shedding a tear on it. You're saying the accusers are allowed to be as emotional as they want because hashtag believe them, but Brett Kavanaugh can't do so. Because that's just, oh, look, it's tough to see a grown man cry. He deserves it. What a rapist. You haven't established that he did anything wrong. It's just a witch trial. It's literally the burning times. Last night I posted about King James demonology and Cotton Mather and witchcraft and demonomania and some of these works that relate to the Salem witch trials and the burning times. You should definitely read them, by the way, on my books blog, link in the description. Just go to the demonology passage of the academic area and you can find some witch trial related materials. It's pertinent. It's literally texts from half a millennia ago. And texts that are on events that happened like in the Renaissance are suddenly in vogue again. Like you should read up on Cotton Mather and all of these other characters. It's very funny. It's like the Malleus Maleficarum, like my channel name. Styx Hexenhammer. Where does the Hexenhammer come from? It's the German word for the Malleus Maleficarum. It's the witch's hammer. It's the premier witch hunting guide from the burning times. Now I use that to mean I am the hammer of the witches, as in utilized by the occult. That's the symbology for me. I chose to culturally appropriate their terminology because I want to hunt down the authoritarians' witch hunt style. I think that we need to bring back the stake. I'm, of course, speaking speaking a little bit symbolically there. I don't mean actually harming people. But here's the thing. It's back in style. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, we're hanging people in public squares these days on mere allegation. And it doesn't have to be sexual impropriety. It tends to be common because it tends to stick more easily. But you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're homophobic, you're a radicalizing people. All of these claims are nothing more than witch hunt hysteria. They are moral panic. They're no different than the satanic panic, McCarthyism, or any of the other moral panics we've had. In fact, I'd say this is the least accurate one that we've suffered through. Like at least during the burning times, at least some of the people who died probably were practicing like at least herbalism. Or maybe they're a Catholic in a Protestant nation. Close enough, the local magistrate says. Something like that. In this roundabout, it's like most of the people that are being blamed for being radicals or perverts or whatever, they're simply not. In many cases, you can prove that they're not. Like there's no evidentiary basis for most of these claims. There is no evidence Brett Kavanaugh gang raped anybody, or molested or assaulted anybody. He should be confirmed. The Republicans should grow some balls, and if they don't, they're going to lose the midterms. They'll lose everything. They shouldn't even exist as a party. If they're not going to provide an alternative to the so-called dichotomous other people, what's the point of them even fucking existing? What's the point of having any Republicans in Congress? Just give everything to the Democrats, have a one fucking party system. At least be more transparent about the fact that you're all controlled by the same corporations, losers anyway. Be more transparent about the fact that for the most part we're already a one-party system. All the true third parties are like afterthoughts at this point. Should be voting for them. Yeah, let's have a libertarian and green movement. Fuck the Republicans if they don't vote for Kavanaugh. What's the point? Kavanaugh's not even far. He's a fucking neocon. He's like a Bush neocon. He's not even out there. Why won't the Republicans, most of these people are rhinos too, why don't you defend him? He's sort of your boy. The people that Trump would rather put in SCOTUS, I think, are a little bit different. Someone who's more like a Gorsuch. Someone who's more like that. Not a Kavanaugh. You can claim that he's far right all you want. No, the official metrics put him in the center right. He's more like a Roberts, ultimately. So yeah, get over the, he's a radical. He doesn't have the right temperament. Yeah, what would you do if you were defamed for months and months and people were calling you a rapist? Do you think you might be a little bit angry? Especially when it seeps out into the public. You've got people who don't know anything about you. Totally random people. Some of them aren't even American. Who are talking about how they hope that you're killed or your family is like treated the way you treated those college girls. It's fucking filth, to tell the truth. That's about all. Peace out.